Hey, my name is Scottie and thanks for joining me. In this tutorial we're going to be sketching this beach scene right here, and I'm going to show you how to do that step by step using ink and watercolor. So the idea of this sketch is that it's a small quick sketch that we're doing like a postcard, and we're sketching from observation. So that means we're not trying to get the exact proportions of the people here, we're just sketching the main shape. So we're going, for example, with this person here, we'll sketch the head and then just outline that body the best we can and then break it up into smaller shapes. So that's what observational sketching is. So with this scene, it needs a bit of a border, I think. Doesn't matter if it has that little wobble to it. Okay, so now we have our page with our border. So we need to break it down into big shapes. So this one here is going to be the first shape where all the people on the rocks are, and that's about, if you go to about halfway, just slightly down. If it was on exactly halfway, I don't think that would look good. So composition wise, we need to make it interesting. We'll just come down a little bit. Put a dot there and there, and then it comes across and comes down. So we'll come across and then down about a third of the way across the width, and we'll put a dot just a bit lower. And now let's draw that outline, just the outline, not all the details, just going around here. So come across, and we're drawing it in one line, and we're making sure it's interesting, has character. There, so we've got that interesting outline of the shape, a little bit more exaggerated than what it has in it. So come to about halfway and then down a bit, about to there. And I'll put a dot on the other side, and that looks about right. Just a slow line. There we go. So we've got the ocean. So with this sketch, we're going to break it into sections. So first I'll start with this section down here with all the people and the chairs, and then we'll go into these other two corners. So in the corner here we have two mattresses, and draw all these details in one line. And then we come across a little bit, and we have these chairs. So they start about there and they have an angle to them. And with the chairs, I'm not trying to get the exact every detail, like every pole of the chair, just going around the outside, getting the main shape. And then you break up those shapes like that, and we can add in a bit more of the detail with watercolor as well. And see how loose that looks? It's just the outline following the angle, so the chairs look like they're lined up. Backwards and forwards, building up that shape there, and the stripes on the back. Go a bit further back down to where that point was, across the angle as well. So once again, just outlining those shapes. It goes in and out, has that same detail. I've got another chair here, same angle. Adding those stripes because they'll look really good and they'll stand out on the sketch later. Okay, we've got those bottom features. Now let's draw these people here. These people here are probably the most prominent people that we can see. And once again, we're not going to draw the exact anatomy of people. It's just those main shapes. That's all we can do is we sketch quickly and loosely. So I can see where the top of her head is. So if I look at that distance, it's about halfway there. So probably about there. And coming up towards this down point there. So somewhere about there, just approximately. And then we have another person, he's about there. So I'm starting with this person, I'll go back to the lady there. And once again, I'm just doing those main shapes. I'm starting with the head, and it's just a little bit of a guess how big the hat is there. Like that. And then we outline this shape. We're coming down. His arms come down like this. The t-shirt. Okay, then we've got some shorts coming out this way. And then his knee comes like this. And we know approximately that from the crotch to the shoulders is about the same down to the ankles. So those kind of rules do help, but when you're drawing people a bit bigger, you have more space to work those things out. Okay, and then the other leg comes in this way. If you're unsure on how to shape the legs, just make sure it has that taper. So we have that person, and then the person behind here. Once again, let's just outline that shape and have it comparable to other things. So that's the head there. And then let's draw the shoulders out. And the shoulders should only be for a lady less than the width of the head. Outline this shape here. See how she bends back this way. And it's just the outline of the arm. And then see it comes to a point there. The waist comes in and then comes back out again. And approximately from her crotch, which is about there, that's about 3 heads. 1, 2, 3. So that looks about right. And then the swimmers, probably spending a little bit more time on these people because they're bigger. And there's surfboard under her arm. Now let's continue making our way up. What else have we got? We've got a person in here. So this is another mattress on the sand. I've never seen people sleep on mattresses on the sand or rest In Australia we definitely don't have this tradition. So maybe there are rocks, so you have to have a big mattress under your body when you're sunbaking. So there's a chair here, and once again I'm just outlining the general shape in a one-line segments, the shoulders and a bikini, and then we have another lady here lying down. So where's her head? Always start with the head, it's much easier. And her shoulders, let's just outline the shoulders and the arms coming down this way, and then the rest of the body back here. I'm breaking it down into segments, then the foot, and then the other foot, and then some details here, some bags, shoe here, and there's that. Now starting off with the shape of her head, and then I'm just following that shape of the body. She's reading a book as well. It's great. And then we have this man here. How high is he? So he's a lot higher than this person, and I'll bring him to the left a bit so we can see him. It's just the shape of his head, then the back, this neck shape, and his legs. Now we can add in the arm because we've done all the other bits, and then the chair's just behind him, so they're at that angle there, and there's someone sitting there with their foot up. So I like that we've got this detail at the front here in the foreground, and then we're going to make our way up to this more abstract detail up here. So let's, at this point here, you can see the rocks. It comes in, it's coming past this person's head, and then comes to where that lady or man who's sitting there with their foot on their knee. And let's break up this a bit more. So we've got rocks here, and the rock comes up, hiding some of the people up there. There we go. And now we can draw this detail here. So we've got chairs. Keep going with one line. This is great practice if you want to loosen up your sketching. So as I'm going, I'm looking at the reference down here, and then I'm looking back at the sketch, but I can keep my pen on the page. And then that umbrella, which is really nice, the detail here. So, oh, my family just got home, so if you can hear people talking in the background, that's just my two girls and my wife talking. So, but I don't think they'll bother us too much. Just be singing and doing things like that. Okay, and what else have we got here? We've got the stripes on the top. We also have the big umbrella, so let's draw that too on this side. And so then let's outline that shape, and it comes around, and then we have a little bit of a edge like this, white edge like that, and then these concentric circles that go around the tip, and then the pole that comes down to here. That's a really nice feature of this, so I've exaggerated how big that is there. And then now let's draw the chairs that are in here. So these chairs are the biggest chairs, so we don't want to make them bigger than these chairs, and they're the smallest ones over here. So we're making sure they are somewhere in between the middle of those. Where do they start? They start on this side. The arms of the chair there. Then I'm just looking at that height between there and there for that chair. And it comes across like that, and we have some stripes. Another chair here. There's actually someone sitting in there. So I'm trying to make the chairs a bit smaller now. Okay, and then we have this person right in the corner there. So head, and the next shape is that, the white t-shirt, and then he has the legs spread apart with his shorts like that. So I'm just building those shapes. One leg like that, and then one on this side. That looks okay. So I'm happy with that. Then they've got this rocks coming down like this. Then over in the ocean, we have a boat, and that is really cool. So I'll make the boat a little bit bigger than it is. Side things, and then this little boy in the water. Now that's a nice focal point in the water. So that's all the line work complete, and it's supposed to be very loose and impressionistic. Now we can go on to doing the watercolor. So let that just dry for a few minutes, and then we'll start the watercolor. So I have a round 12 brush, and the reason I chose that is because we've got these large areas, and sometimes it's easier with a bigger brush. So let's get cerulean blue, and when I'm doing these watercolor washes, we're going to keep them loose and impressionistic. We don't mind if they go over or inside the lines. Let's start on the left side because that's going to be the darker side, and then come across here and leave just space for where the clouds are. So coming across around that little cloud in the sky, and then as I go across, I'm going to wash my brush and then bring the blue across here so it's lighter on this side near where the sun would be. And all these beautiful little clouds, and then you can add in, and sure, splatters. I know everyone loves doing splatters. So that's our sky. Ocean, I'm going to start on the left hand side with turquoise. There we're adding turquoise and viridian green. And let's make sure that's nice and light. Okay, so we've got that there ready to go. And then over where we had the cerulean blue, let's add in ultramarine. Ultramarine, and once again, not trying to make it perfect within that space. So it comes across, and as it's coming across, we grab the viridian green and turquoise color. It's okay if you leave lots of white gaps. Pulling that in here now. Okay, so we see we got that variegated wash between the greeny blue to the more ultramarine blue. Now we're going to work on this sand that we have here, from these darker colors to the very light colors. So we have burnt sienna and yellow ochre. So those two colors. Starts off quite orangey on this side. Round 10 brush here. A little bit more burnt sienna there. Going around. That's very light. Going around all the figures that we have here. But we're leaving little bits of white. Makes it look so much more interesting. And then as we're coming up here, I'll just see here we've got these orangey sand. But then as it comes across, we're adding a little bit more yellow to this mix, and I'll water it down again so it's very, very light. Yeah, there you go, that's quite light now. And around the figure, even lighter, even lighter. Okay, I'm happy with that, how it goes so light up here and then a bit more orange down there. Okay, now the next bigger shapes are those rocks. So they can be done by adding a bit of Payne's Grey and yellow ochre. Let's do that around some of these rocks here. And then as we go, we can change this color. So I'm leaving lots of white on the top because the light would be reflecting on them. You can add a little bit of more orange, that's burnt sienna. Some of those rocks, some hints of that down there. And then as we get closer, actually these rocks closer to the water are darker. So add more Payne's Grey. And then here, there we go. I think that looks nice. So we've got the main block colors. Now we have to add that detail to make it pop. And these are a bit more saturated. So for example, we'll add on all the blues here, the ultramarine. So quite a saturated blue here now. I'm definitely using a smaller brush, so I've got around 10. Let's get some of these really nice blue colors here. So it should stand out a bit more. But still considering that the light is coming from here, so if you can make this side a little bit lighter and drag the paint over to the left. Or parasol, do you call them parasels? Now we can go through and do all these details. So we have all these amazingly nice bright blues. The chair's blue there. Hoodie is blue. And then over this way, there's a few here. Even his shorts, so much blue. And don't worry about if you're getting the wrong amount of stripes. Yeah, I like how that stands out. Even the little boat, so I've got turquoise, and in the boat there's some blue. Now, sometimes I'm not this fussy, but for this sketch today I'm going to blow dry that so that I can do the rest of them without them combining. The next most important thing to do is the skin tone, and we want that to stand out amongst the sand. So I usually use burnt sienna for skin tone, and I have to water that down quite a lot. But let's add a bit of rose, just because we want those chair legs to be slightly different. Okay, where's another person here? I wouldn't normally do skin tone that red, but I think it works here for this sketch. So everyone can have the same skin tone really here. Just go around all of the people. There's a leg here, and there are a few more people hiding around in there. This person over here, skin. Just proves that being patient and waiting for things to dry does make a big difference. Okay, now we have that nice reddy skin tone. Everyone's getting a tan. Let's draw the legs of the chair. So we're using the burnt sienna as the main color, but we'll put it with the yellow ochre, the same color as the sand. So we'll try and make this more of a yellow orange than the reddy orange for the skin tone. Wherever the chair legs are, there, that does stand out as being slightly different, which is nice. And just go through. If you feel like you didn't quite sketch all the lines for the chairs, you can add them in with the watercolor. It's a little bit more abstract. Just around these chairs here. Yeah, there's a lot of skill involved in trying to work out how to make these different aspects stand out. I think that's all that I need to do. Cadmium red. I just like this little details here, being a little bit of red on these boats, and it makes this pop out. Yeah, that's nice. Try not to touch the other colors. Cadmium red, and I'm making this towel here red. That's nice. And this person's shorts, just make them red, even though they're pink. Darker spots around in there. Whereas this person's got hair there. Whoops. See, that went into the chair leg. And then for some of the other hair, we've got, this is cadmium yellow. I'm not sure if this is going to be too strong, but this lady's hair. We've got burnt umber, and this can be brown hair, maybe with a bit of Payne's grey in it. And that gives it a nice texture. But now I'm going to go into the water here. So I'll get turquoise again, and then we're adding these dark little lines, these dark areas. Perhaps a bit of ultramarine too, as we go across here, and just horizontal lines through there. And they're thinner near the horizon, and they'll be a little bit thicker as you get closer to shore there. And then you can dry your brush and try splatters again here. That just hints that there's a nice texture to the water. And the last step is to add some shadows to this. So I've got Purple Lake, which is one of my favorite colors for doing shadows. Okay, so if the sun is coming from this way, the left hand side of objects will have a bit of shadow. Shadow in here, on the bottom of the chairs. So if we see a shadow, or if that umbrella will have shadow underneath, if you see an area where there's shadow, just put it in like this. And there's rocks there, a bit of shadow. From the chair going down. Now this umbrella here will put shadow across here. This person has a bit of shadow there and come across. And this chair, you can see here, there's these shadows there. Shadow coming down, a nice strong shadow where those chairs come there. I'm trying to, that's his leg there, so trying to follow a bit of what the chair's doing and the people sitting on them. And then out on the ocean here, the boat, have that side of the boat's in shadow and a little bit of that dark reflection. And that gives a bit of depth to quite a flat sketch. So now I'll let that dry again. Now I'm happy with the watercolor. We just have to add some highlights. So you can see here that the ocean here is reflecting, lots of little white glints coming across here, but it's not as much on this side. So what you can use any white pen you have here, and just do little tiny horizontal lines. So more of them around there, where the sun would be, and then they fade out to be a little bit less around. You can add a little highlight on the boat. Come across here, slightly bigger around closer to the shore, and then on the tops of things that are reflecting the light, we can add in some highlights there. So on the tops of these rocks, I'm just putting a dot or a line near most of these objects there. Okay, that's all we need to do for the highlights. So that's our final sketch of this beach scene. We're going to capture this whole scene in a very simple and loose way, without getting too overwhelmed with the details. A great example of observational sketching, where we're just sketching the shapes and building them down for the different people and all the chairs and the umbrellas. And as always, the full version will be on my Patreon without all the cuts. And you can also download the reference there with this tutorial, so it helps make it much easier to sketch along with me. Plus there's other fundamental tutorials. You can take a photo of your sketch and put it on the chat and ask me any questions there. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.